10 Things I Hate About You. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways in which this 1999 comedic, romantic, modernised Shakespearean tale of two high school sisters and their complicated love lives has proven itself worthy of a place in my top 10 films of all time. To elaborate on plot, popular girl Bianca is only able to date once her irritable older sister Kat has met her own match. Bianca's admirer Cameron consults Patrick, Australian loner and potential suitor for Kat. Wealthy, vain student Joey Donner is manipulated into funding the dates of Kat and Pat, and soon Australian loner Patrick begins to catch feelings for Kat. What could possibly go wrong? The plot is elevated by a level of complexity refreshing in a film of this category. This complexity is unsurprising given the film is an adaptation of the Shakespeare play Taming of the Shrew. A better title for the film would have been 10 Things I Hate About Shrew. In the Shakespeare play, however, Kat is starved and temporarily restrained by her potential suitor before their marriage takes place. Hooray! I mean, at least they get married, right? An extended version of the play, only viewable on the Playwrights Cut Blu-ray edition, shows a drunken layabout deciding to use the methods shown within the play on his own wife. Hooray! At least he's married, right? It was a different time. Wisely, 10 Things I Hate About You removes the problematic misogynistic overtones in favour of a more plausible, investing story. The events are flavoured by humour, including infectiously sarcastic dialogue that makes me wonder if it was transmitted through an MCU spellcheck programme, subtle slapstick moments, heightened personalities, and astute observations on adolescent behaviour. Given its reasonably isolated story, there's a surprising sense of place, thanks to colourful supporting roles, minor incidental subplots, distinctive locations and implicit running gags. As well as the colourful supporting cast, the lead roles are excellently represented, masterfully subverting high school character stereotypes. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's awkward, determined romantic, Larisa Oleynik's popular fashionista, the late Heath Ledger's mysterious loner, and David Krumholtz's social outcast all receive a level of vulnerability, insight or general depth. A fact that even applies to some of the more secondary characters, such as Kat and Bianca's overprotective but well-meaning father. This character growth is continuously supported by strong performances. Heath Ledger fully delivers the wisdom and sensitivity his character is required to, while Julia Stiles exudes confrontation and occasional, believable fragility. A triumphant example of the latter can be found in the iconic, emotionally raw poetry scene near the end. Meanwhile, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's energy is palpable, as is his chemistry with the versatile Larisa Oleynik. This is a result of the fact that both also played a couple in the sitcom Third Rock from the Sun, which by the way is the greatest sitcom on this planet. But it's fairly average compared to some of the sitcoms on Mars, who are light years ahead of us in terms of comedy writing. Every other performer, whether leading or supporting, is perfectly cast, with special mention to the entertaining performances of Alison Janney and Daryl Mitchell, playing staff members at Padua High School. While visuals aren't the most immediate feature of this film, they do invoke a clear and slightly vibrant image of the period, which is only furthered by the diversity of the soundtrack. With a slight and appreciative leaning toward alternative rock, such as several covers of classic songs from girl band Letters to Cleo, and several other jubilant 80s and 90s anthems that further enhance the film's lively and wholesome mood. A discussion on this film's music would be incomplete without mention of Heath Ledger's endearing rendition of Frankie Valli's Can't Take My Eyes Off of You, which is a masterclass in casual showmanship. In the interest of rectifying my biased appreciation, addressing some negatives is necessary. But as with my other top 10 films reviewed so far, which can be found in a playlist linked at the end of this video, this is genuinely challenging. The only thing I hate about this film is the way I don't hate it. Not even close. Not even ever. Not even at all. Arguably, there are scenes where Kat and Bianca's father's overprotective attitude does reach unnecessary extremes, but even during these moments, the film's trademark wit subdues this misgiving. One particularly distracting element, though, was the fact that this film is an adaptation of a Shakespeare play, as mentioned earlier, and Shakespeare himself is regularly referenced within the film, meaning that the experiences of these characters, and occasionally even the names, just happen to perfectly mirror a Shakespeare play that presumably still exists in this universe, given that Shakespeare does, and no one ever notices. It's entirely possible that we as viewers are simply expected to assume that Taming of the Shrew doesn't exist in this universe while every other play by Shakespeare does? Honestly, if I was thrust into a parallel universe where the only difference was that Taming of the Shrew didn't exist, I don't think I'd ever notice. In fact, I'll assume that's what's happened to anyone who doesn't watch this video. It's important to acknowledge that neither of these factors affect my own undying adoration for this film. In my mind, it remains a masterpiece, even if this title may not be objectively suited. In closing, the film is funny, emotional, interestingly plotted, charmingly performed, and captures the complications of teenage romance with warmth, relatability, and understanding. 10 Things I Hate About You is especially recommended to people who really enjoy the film 10 Things I Hate About You, which basically includes the entire population. Some are simply yet to see it, or yet to truly come to terms with its greatness. Thanks for watching my video on 10 Things I Hate About You, and in case I don't see you next time, I should inform you now that I love you, baby, and if it's quite alright, I need you, baby, to warm the lonely nights. I love you, baby, trust in me when I say, oh pretty baby, don't bring me down, I pray, oh pretty baby, now that I've found you, stay and let me love you, baby, let me love you.